Hey everybody, this is Kim, and I am the Crafty Nomad because I am all over the place when it comes to my crafting. Welcome everybody, welcome back to episode number 4. And here I didn't think I would do episode number 2, but here I am on episode number 4. Thank you for everybody who has stopped by, who has visited and spent some time with me in this little crafty world of mine, and thank you for those who subscribed. I think that my subscribers on YouTube has more than doubled since I started doing the podcast, and I'm so grateful for everybody who has stopped by. Thank you so much. If this is your first time coming to check me out, stay a while, and hopefully you will come back. I wanted to also say thank you to a couple of different podcasters who gave me some really great shout outs. And I think I'm going a little bit off my notes. I made notes this time. So I'm going to look down every once in a while so I can see where I'm supposed to go to make sure I cover everything that I wanted to talk about today. But I did want to say thank you, first of all, to Kenneth, the Turbo Knitter. Thank you so much for the shout out. It was so kind of you, and I felt so excited about it. I brought my husband over so he could hear my shout out, and when I was driving the first time I heard it, and I was just going, woo woo, a shout out from the Turbo Knitter. So thank you so much, Kenneth. I really appreciate you. I love your podcast. I think I love what you do. I love what how generous your heart is, and I just thank you for all the support and your prizes, your giveaways. Just so generous. I just really appreciate it. So thank you so much for the shout out. I also wanted to say thank you very much to Sissy from Southern Crafts Podcast. She is fantastic. She gave me a shout out, and I really appreciate her. She's a hardworking stay-at-home mom, and also very, very creative. I really appreciate you, Sissy, for the shout out, and I thank you very much. I'm pretty sure that if you're watching my podcast, you probably have seen both of these guys, but if not, please go and check them out. They're great. They're really good people. So I really enjoy them. So thank you for that. And so today I'm just going to move forward with the podcast, and I'll tell you today I'm going to have a couple of segments. So I'm going to talk about works in progress, finished objects. I'm going to talk a little bit about some crafty happenings, and I'm going to try to make that a regular segment as things come up that I find out about. I'm hopefully going to be able to remember to share them with you guys here on the podcast, and that would include things that are happening on the internet, things that are happening on Ravelry that I just discovered that, maybe you probably already know about, but if you don't, I'm going to mention them here, and then even some things that crafty events that I'm thinking about going to or might get a chance to go to. I'm going to share those with you in the Crafty Happenings segment. And then I'm going to do a segment called New and Noteworthy, and that's going to be podcasters that I just recently discovered that I want to share with you. And then the Oldies But Goodies, and at that point I'm going to share just a couple. I already shared a couple with the Turbo Knitter and Southern Crafts. They've been around for a while, and they would definitely count as Oldies But Goodies for me. People who have been around podcasting, who I've been watching for a while, who I just kind of want to share with you. Mostly just to acknowledge how much I appreciate them, because a lot of these people I'm pretty sure you guys all watch too. And then I'll talk a little bit about needle, hook, machine adjacent projects, which are basically projects that I have on my list to start but haven't been started yet. and then a little bit of just podcast news. So that's it for today. So I'm going to get started with my whips. So last we talked, I didn't show these, I don't think, but I showed them at least 1 or 2 episodes ago. I had my socks, which are living in my beautiful Silver Shed bag, the Silver Shed. I love the bag, and but they're living in this, and I am just making a plain vanilla sock out of Knit Picks Felici, and this is, I believe, the Mosaic, right? Yes, Mosaic. And when I showed them to you last, they were, about the same amount long, but they were really, really, really big. And so what I did was I ripped them back, got a smaller needle, and guys, I almost always have only used like no smaller than a size 2. So that's what I was using, and they were just so big. And again, like I said, my foot is not small, but the sock was just way too big, and they were absolutely too colorful. I don't think I could have convinced my husband to wear them, although he could have fit them. So I just ripped them back, got a smaller needle, and I'm doing magic loop, and here they are, toe-up socks, definitely smaller, and I'm using a size 1, which I've never used anything this small before. I took this with me to my Crafty meetup group, and it's a group that people come to. We come together once a month, and we craft whatever we feel like crafting, which for a lady like me who likes to craft everything and who is the Crafty Nomad, it's the perfect group, because I had been in a knitting group, which I enjoyed, but I do more than just knitting, and so I can go to this group and I can scrapbook, I can make jewelry, I can do whatever. So I brought my socks to that, and everybody was so impressed with these little bitty needles. They were like, how are you actually knitting on toothpicks? And I'm surprised too. I'm pretty impressed myself, because I have never used a needle that small. But they're coming along great, and I'm enjoying that, just plain old vanilla socks. So they're coming along. And then the other whip that I have is, I'm going to mention another podcast that she wouldn't really count as a oldie but a goodie, because I think she might be on episode 8 or 9 of her podcast, but I have followed her on Instagram for a very long time, and her name is, she is the Crochet Junkie. And I don't know, a lot of you probably have followed her, but she also has a podcast. And on her most recent episode, she talked about doing this Moroccan midnight cowl. And this is a Moogly pattern. And if you don't know Moogly, she's incredible. She does a lot of crochet patterns. All of them are free, at least the ones that I've tried so far. So just Google Moogly, and I'll link it in the show notes as well. But she has a lot of cool patterns, but I thought this pattern was really cool. Like crochet color work, but made easy. And there's another picture of it. And she used in this sample, and the Crochet Junkie did too. They used the oh my goodness, it's Red Heart boutique yarn. Oh my god, I can't remember the name of it right now, but I didn't use that for my first one. Both of mine are Loops and Threads, the Michaels brand, from, I think it's Impeccable. And so I decided to go with these two colors. So this one is mustardy, and this one is a black tweed, and I don't know how well this is all coming through. But so this is how far. Oh boy, sorry guys. The way this pattern works is lots of yarn, and not lots, but enough where you really have to keep up. And so I I made a little bit bigger. I'm using a worsted weight. Both of these I believe are worsted, and the pattern called for Aaron, so I went down on my needle size, and I like it so far. I'm hoping to be able to add this cowl to my gift bag, basket, box, the things that I've been trying to create to give away at Christmas time. So, those are the only 2 works in progress I'm going to show. Okay, so let me talk to you about the flax. So, when last we met, I showed you guys that I have bound off the ribbing at the bottom. So really all I have to do left are the 2 sleeves for this sweater that I'm making for my 6-year-old who's growing fast, right? How about I did the sleeves completely wrong and just realized it, and I just cannot even face the possibility of ripping back all the way back up to the sleeves. I just can't do it. So I am trying to wrap my head around this being my own version of the flax, and I think I'm going to end up just going all the way down with this garter stitch panel. I tried one thing and it did not look right, so I think I'm going to have to, in order to save the sweater and not have to go back, I'm going to have to just go down the entire sleeve with the garter stitch when it's supposed to be just a 14 stitch panel down the sleeve, and everything else was supposed to be stockinette. And I, for whatever reason, did not notice the problem until I got ready to actually cast on and finish up the sleeve. So I have basically put flax in punishment. I mean, it's not Flax's fault, right? It's really my fault. So I just put it to the side because I just could not believe, because I was going to take it to my group on Saturday, and I was just going to work, and hopefully get a whole sleeve done. Not so. So Flax is just in the corner cooling off. It's not on punishment. I'm just trying to cool off and face the fact that I did all this work and it's not quite what I hoped, but I hope I can still love it in the end. So that's the only, with the bear still in the same spot. Have not worked on the bear. I don't know why I haven't given the bear any love. Just all of a sudden got put to the side and I got caught up with other things. That's just how it goes. So I'll pull him back out, and probably next time he'll be a finished object. And speaking of finished objects, I do have two FOs. So the first one you saw, and she was almost finished, and I will show her in a second. I'm gonna pull out, if I can, pull out the pattern, if I can find it in this pile of patterns. Okay, here we go. It's the Owl Always Love You pattern, Pay For pattern on Ravelry, and it is by Darlene Hopkins. Hopefully all those papers won't fall all over the floor right now. But that's the pattern. It is as cute as a button. And if you can see, let me show that again. The person is holding it in their hand. So it's substantial, which is why I wanted to make it. And here she is. So all done. You know, okay, I'm going to admit, eyes are a little bit cockeyed, but that's okay. I still love her. And I think it's a her. Don't you think it's a her? Might be a boy. I'm not sure. Anyway, this is my little owl all done. And so when I made this, my gauge was pretty good. And then when I got to the bottom of it, the stitches were kind of stretched out. And so I could see some of the stuffing. So what I did was I made like a little circle and sewed it on the bottom so that stuffing wouldn't be seen. Because I'm going to give this to my coworker's daughter. It was her first birthday, and I don't want her to be able to pull out all of that stuff. So, and I've been holding it back because her birthday was last week, just so I can show it to you guys first. So this is My owl always loved you. And I believe all of this yarn is Red Heart Super Saver. And actually the purple, I believe, is Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn. And then everything else is Red Heart Super Saver. So that's it. And then my second FO is another crochet item, because you know what, crochet just goes faster, so almost always I'm gonna have quicker crochet finished objects. And this one is a hat, and I forgot to bring the pattern book, but I've been going through some of my old pattern books that I bought years and years ago before I discovered Ravelry and all of that. I was buying books and all kinds of things. And then I kind of took a break from all the crafting. My son was born, who had time or energy during that time, and so now he's older, more self-sufficient, so I get a little more time to craft. So I've been going back through my things to see if I'm still interested in making some of these things. And this came out of a book that it's crochet gifts, but this actual pattern is on Ravelry. I have not made a project page for it, but I will. But it's a pattern called Mother Daughter Hat and Mittens. If you look that up, this will pop up. And so I made this hat, and this is, I don't know if you can see the stitch pattern. In the book, almost all of these were made with solid colors, but I kind of like this, so I just made it with the variegated. So of course you can't really see that stitch pattern very well, but it's a pretty cute hat. This one is, I think, I put it on my son's head, and it fits him. It's just a little bit too big, so this is probably like a middle school aged person who could wear this, little girl. So that will either go in my Etsy store or be given as a gift. Don't know yet. So those are my two finished objects for this podcast. And I'm gonna check my notes. So next up are Crafty Happenings. Or maybe I'll do, okay, first I'm going to do a little bit of stash enhancement. I do not have any yarn to show you this time, but I got a couple of things. So I want to make a sweater for myself, and I've already picked the pattern, and it called for 10.5 inch size, size 10.5 needles. So I got Chow fixed circulars, because this is really, Chow is my fave. Okay, my fave. But I also needed double points, probably for the sleeves, I'm assuming. And so I got the Deborah Norville double pointed needles in the same size. And then I was telling you guys about my crafty meetup group. Well, there's a lady who comes, and I swear I don't know where she gets all the stuff, but she almost always comes with a car full of crafty things to give away. Craft supplies, fabric, trim, buttons, all kinds of things. And so someone showed up with patterns and all of these different things. So so I got a little bit of stash enhancement in fabric, and I just picked this up because she was giving it away. And this is baseball themed fabric, which I'll probably make project bags out of. And then this might end up being a project bag too, or I just got these because they were boy themed fabrics. And look how colorful and pretty that is. And this, with all the baseball, all the sports themed, it's a sports themed print. And it's either going to back a quilt, or it'll be a project bag and a few other things, because it's a lot of fabric here. I think this one is more like a poly cotton, and the other one feels like it's cotton. This one is definitely not 100% cotton. It's a little bit too stiff for that. So I'll probably make a project bag out of this. Hey everybody, I am back. Sorry, camera died completely, and so now I'm gonna try to finish this up on my my iPhone. So let's see how this goes. I'm gonna try to go quickly. I think I had just finished talking about this really nice fabric that I got for free, which is very cool, and I'm probably going to use it for project bags. So anybody want to do a swap with me with a project bag, and not just that fabric, but I'm actually interested in doing some swaps. So hopefully this is going to go okay. So let's move forward with the podcast. So I was about to move on and talk a little bit about Crafty Happenings. So I wanted to talk to you guys about Periscope. So Periscope is just blowing up. I think it's been around since about March, but I just discovered it about a month ago. My husband had mentioned it to me longer ago than that, but I finally got on it and started looking for crafters and that kind of thing. So it's been a lot of fun. And so there is a Ravelry group called Crafty Periscopers. Go and find it. Go and join up. That way you can find out what's going on Periscope as far as yarny goodness, and all. You can find all the Ravelers who actually Periscope, and in addition, sorry guys, that was my husband's phone. In addition, something really cool, a couple of cool things are happening in that group. The first thing I wanted to mention is Pass the Fibercast. Today was the first time that they did it. So a lot of different groups on Periscope, a lot of artists, a lot of business owners do something that they call Pass the Cast. And so people who are sort of in the same tribe, maybe 8 artists will get together. They will do a 15-minute thing on whatever the theme is or whatever kind of art they do, and then they pass the cast. And then you go over and you follow the next person. So for about 30 minutes, you get a little piece of several different artists. I've seen people do it with their businesses where several people will sort of hawk their wares over a 10-minute period and then pass on the cast. And usually there's somebody who is coordinating the whole thing who will then tell you when the next person is live. Well, some really incredible ladies have put together a Pass the Fibercast, and they're going to do it on a regular basis, and today was the first one. It was so great. It was so much fun. So please go and find the group. I neglected to get their names written down in my notes of the ladies who actually organized it, but it turned out really, really great. And it was so much fun to watch. And if you want to be a part of it, you can. She has sign-ups and everything in that group. And so I'm planning to be a part of it whenever she organizes a Saturday one. This one was today. The next one is, I believe, Friday the 25th of September, and I think the Saturday one is going to be on the 26th. So right now they're just doing introductions, these first ones, and today was fabulous, so please give it a shot. Also in that group, they have a Periscope crochet along going on, so go on and check that group out on Ravelry and join up if it's something that you're interested in. The other thing that I wanted to talk about as far as Crafty Happenings, is something I just found out that happens here in Southern California, in Long Beach. It's called Yarnosphere, and somebody from one of my knitting groups told me it's like a small, tiny little stitches where they have classes. They have over 30 vendors, so I'm excited to try that out. They have classes on steeking, weaving, all the different cast-ons. There are crochet lessons, just all kinds of things that I think I'm going to give a try. And so I just wanted to mention that to you if you're in the area. It's on October 17th and 18th, and I'm hoping to get a chance to take part of that. And then my next couple of segments are going to be, my next one is New and Noteworthy and Oldies But Goodies. So for the New and Noteworthy, um, I discovered a couple of new podcasts. One of them is a girl, I believe she is in the South, and the name of the podcast is Yarn Chicken. So go on YouTube, search for Yarn Chicken. We all play a lot of Yarn Chicken, right? Well, she named her podcast Yarn Chicken. She did her first episode last week, and it was really great. She was really good, really down to earth lady. Give her a shot. I enjoyed it. The second one I wanted to mention is because I was so impressed with these young ladies. The name of their podcast is called C.A.T.T Knits. K-E-T-S-Y Knits. K-N-I-T-S. And these are two little girls, guys. One is 10, one is 12. These kids they did their first podcast episode last week. They have an Etsy store. Hello. I barely have an Etsy store. These girls are 10 and 12. One of them, the youngest one, does a lot of bead work, so that's what they sell, her beaded bracelets. The oldest one is the one that knits. And, I mean, she is not a lightweight. Go and check them out. It's so inspiring just to see these young girls, you know, doing their thing craft-wise and even being little entrepreneurs. I mean, that is the way to go. So I really appreciated that. It was really good. Go check them out. And then in my Oldies But Goodies section, I want to talk about a few that I really love. I already mentioned a few that I really love. So here I'm going to talk about the Knitworthy Podcast. This is a mother-daughter team, Mama Linda and Brienne. And I love them. Their latest episode is up. But I think they're like on episode number 40. And they are a delightful, delightful mother-daughter team. Go and check them out if you haven't already. My next one that this is the one that I became completely devoted to for the first time because I just used to hop around. Pin, hook, and needles. Love pin, hook, and needles. This is another mother-daughter team, and that is Talia and Marlisha. On YouTube, Talia is Franciscan Gypsy. So if you just search Franciscan Gypsy or just Pin Hook and Needles Podcast, you can find them. These ladies are so great. They have so many projects going. They knit, they crochet, they use all types of yarn, and they are really just very welcoming and warm and fun to watch. So go check them out. And then my latest new favorite, Andrea from the Cat Lady. Now I have mentioned her before because she is a woman after my own heart because she is the Cat Lady. Craft all the things. She is fabulous. She has 2 beautiful children. She's married, and she really does like to craft all kinds of things. So I can totally relate to her on that level. And go check her out. She podcasts on a regular basis. Every Monday, her episodes come out. Even today, her latest episode is already out. I'm recording today, Monday, September 14th. I don't know when this is going to get uploaded, but I am recording on Monday, September 14th. And then my final thing that I want to talk about today, before I wrap this up, is my needle adjacent, hook adjacent, machine adjacent project. So I already talked about this one. Haven't started it yet, but I still want to. A little cocoon, and I actually want to make a pumpkin one too, so I probably should get started, My next needle adjacent, I actually could not find it, but it's a cowl, a knitted cowl that I would like to do. But I want to kind of balance out everything, my needlework with, I don't want to lean. I love crochet. I am mostly a crocheter, but I do want to do more knitting than I've done in the past because I really like the look of knitting. So, and then my machine adjacent projects. What I mean by this are sewing projects. And I have a couple of friends. Sorry, guys. Southern California has been so hot. Now today it has finally dropped, but it's still hot in my apartment right now. So I'm usually sitting under a fan, and I'm sitting under a ceiling fan, but It's not really working. I need one blowing on me. But anyway, I have two very, very dear friends that recently lost their husbands, and both of these ladies are, one was 3 years ago now, and one was just, months ago. Not even months, just really recently. And the one that really recently, I'll just cut it and say, they both have asked me to make memory bears for their kids, because they both have young kids. They are young women. We always say that a person died too soon, and we all know that none of us control anything, and I believe that up here that people go when they're supposed to go, but in my heart, both of these men died too soon, and they have very young children, and both moms have actually asked if I would make memory bears for their daughters from their husband's garments. And so it's going to be tough. But because I feel like it's the least I can do, I'm going to give it a go. So y'all, I got to pray. I got to find a pattern. I want it to be excellent for them. I have made bears before, but this, this is special. So that is my my machine adjacent project. Hopefully I will get going soon on it, and I'll be able to show you what I have been able to come up with, and hopefully I can create something for their girls and for the two families that they will love. And when stuff like this happens, you just totally feel at a loss. Like, what can you do for people? And I mean, if I had my druthers, I would bring both of these guys back for them, and I would erase all the pain. But I can't. So the least I can do is make these bears for them. So let's hope I can do it. And then finally, my final thing I wanted to talk about is I did create a podcast group. I do not have a badge. I do not have a banner. I just have a group. So going over the Ravelry, I have three threads, an introduction thread and a couple of question threads. Going over there, check it out, sign up, join my group. Hopefully, if I can get enough people in there and get it active, we can have some giveaways down the line, and I will eventually put a badge. I will eventually put up a banner. But I thought it was time, since it's episode 4, to at least have a podcast group. So go over there and search in the groups for the Crafty Nomad Podcast. And I think, for now, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. You can find me on Instagram as Periskim, Pettiskim. I am on Ravelry as Periskim Knits, or Periskim Knits, if you just need to spell it out. I'm on YouTube as Periskim, and I will link my blog, and I think I'm going to start putting my episodes into my blog. And I think that is it for today. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for spending time with me. Have a good one.